Great to see you guys. Appreciate you guys being on this morning as we really kind of start talking really about this ideal of high road leadership. And of course, want to kind of still allow some people to get on if they would like to. And before I get started, but as I do, I will be doing a kind of a Q&A right after this. So we'll probably be on for, about 35, 45 minutes with a little Q&A at the end. So if there's any questions that you may have, if there's some things that you want to ask, if you've never been in a mastermind before, and hey, what is that? And I hope to explain some of that to you as we kind of go through this morning, what really we're planning on doing starting next Monday in this ideal of high road leadership and mastermind. And so let me just kind of get started today with you guys moving forward and kind of get an introduction. Of course, last week had an opportunity. John Maxwell was in town. He was at the Belcher Center, had a phenomenal time with him. If you were able to go, man, I'm so glad that you were. You were in the room and you got a chance to hear John. If you weren't, maybe next time. I know that probably he'll be coming back in a couple more years, but if you ever get a chance to hear John, it's a phenomenal opportunity. He's a phenomenal communicator. John Maxwell, of course, has written well over 80 books. Some of you may know John Maxwell, have heard of John Maxwell before. He's known in a lot of circles as the guru of leadership and the ideal that he's written more books on leadership than anyone else has. And I mean, millions and millions of copies. And he also has a coaching program, which I'm a part of. There's about 50,000 plus coaches in about 72 different countries that John is a part of and one of his organizations. And I'll tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about my background as we get started this morning. I've had and owned several businesses, LLCs, before in the past. I've been a realtor, been a real estate investor. I was a missionary to Saltillo, Mexico for about 7+ years. My wife and three daughters were in a kidnapping attempt that brought us back to Texas. And so, it was just one of those things that, we just kind of put our lives in God's hands, and he protected them, and we made it back safely to Texas. I was a pastor here for about 9 years. And then it was through all of that I became an executive director with the John Maxwell organization as a coach, speaker, and trainer for leaders. And the reason I did that really is mainly for me to become a better leader. I had actually gone in not really thinking about being a coach, speaker, and trainer, but really about how to lead me better so that when I was a pastor, I could help and lead our church and lead our staff and lead our volunteers much better. And that just opened up doors of opportunity to get into the business world and to speak. I've known several other business people or owners and managers, general managers, and leaders within businesses. And of course, that just opened up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities to speak to them, to add value to them as well. And so that's kind of my background, some of the things that I've done in the past and what I've been doing. And in fact, just went full time into coaching, speaking, and training for over a year now. I've been doing it kind of off and on. But as far as being a pastor and being a coach, speaker, and trainer, and really, like I said, God just opened up a lot of doors of opportunity for me to step into the business world and be able to add value to the leaders in the marketplace. And so that's a little bit about me. I have a family that man, I love and adore. My wife and I have been married for over 30 years. My oldest daughter, I think, would be to your right if you're looking at the screen. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter who is, got me wrapped very tight. And so I adore her. And of course, my other two daughters, my middle daughter is the one farthest to the left on the screen. She plays at Southern Arkansas University volleyball. And then my youngest daughter is right there between me and my middle daughter on the left side of the screen. And so she plays volleyball also in high school in varsity. And so this is my family. Love them to death. And I tell you, God's truly, truly blessed me with a wonderful family and some girls. As you notice, I'm surrounded by girls. I'm outnumbered all the time. Even my dog is not a girl, and so oh, excuse me, not a boy. Excuse me, is a girl. And my youngest daughter has a dog that is a boy, so he and we get along well. So I just always feel outnumbered, which is great for me to really kind of talk about the ideal of how do we compromise and how do we lead. So I enjoy my family and enjoy being surrounded by them. So let me kind of get started with you guys today in this ideal of really what is high road leadership and what is this high road leadership mastermind that we're actually talking about today. I want to kind of read a little bit of passages out of John's book. And of course, we'll be talking about this later, but if you join the mastermind, you'll be getting a free book, and I'll be sending that to you. But I want to kind of give kind of some thoughts about what a mastermind is. And then how we're going to approach the mastermind in this book. I've done several different masterminds in several different ways. And over Zoom, it's a phenomenal opportunity because, first off, you don't have to go somewhere. You can just log on wherever you are. It can be in your car, it can be at work, it can be at home. I've even had people that be on the beach and on Zoom. You said, Scott, why would they log in on Zoom? Well, because they value the mastermind, okay? But I'm just telling you, you can be anywhere and be able to join right on the Zoom. The other great thing about doing it on Zoom is I'm able to record it. And once I record it, what I do is I will send you the recordings of the mastermind. So if for some reason you're not able to make it, for some reason something comes up, or maybe you get started in it and something comes up, a phone call, a text, you've got to take care of it. Hey, understand if you need to leave, it is, just is what it is, but you'll get the recording. And so you'll be able to follow along and be able to listen to the whole recording as well as be able to know where we are for the next week. And then you can ask questions. You can always hear other people. And that's the wonderful thing about being in a group is you're able to hear and learn from other people. You're able to hear their questions. And many times when have been in masterminds myself, not facilitating them, but actually being a participant of them, man, it's just a phenomenal opportunity to hear from other people's perspectives, to hear what they're saying, the questions that they have, and how much value that adds. And so I love the ideal of group coaching, group training, masterminds, because we're able to pull from one another and learn from one another. And there's a scripture in Proverbs in the Bible, it says iron sharpens iron. And that's really what it does. We sharpen each other from our experiences, from our perspectives, and things we've learned. And so what a mastermind is, and for me, and what John Maxwell really talks about is about pulling a group of people together who really have a common interest, and that is really growing to become better. And so this ideal of mastermind really is to take a subject, and for us, and for me, being an executive director of John Maxwell Organization, I love taking a lot of John Maxwell's books because I'm licensed to be able to do that. And what a phenomenal leader he is and an author he is, and be able to take a lot of those things. And there's questions and there's a workbook. And of course, I'll be sending that to you as well if you decide to join us. That workbook will have questions. It'll have fill in the blanks. It'll have thought-provoking ideals as well, and places for you to write in your thoughts, not just what we're talking about. And this is what I tell people all the time. Anytime I do speaking engagements or trainings or even masterminds, always write down what your thoughts are. Don't just write down what the speaker is saying, but always think about, hey, what is being said and what does that mean to me? And what is my perspective on that? Because what we are able to do is we're able to take that in and learn from that. And one of the things I say when it comes to masterminds is it's not just going through the course, it's not just going through the mastermind and saying, oh, good, we finished within 6 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever the case may be. But the ideal is, what did I get out of this? What was my expectation up front? What is it that I'm really trying to glean from this to be able to add value to my life and be able to grow? You see, the whole ideal of masterminds really is about growing. It's really about growing you. I say this all the time, and the ideal of when it comes to trainings and comes to helping people in personal growth is that if I can't lead me, then really I can't lead anyone else. I'm the hardest person to lead. And so I need to work on me. And the only way I can work on me is to grow, to read, to be involved in people that basically are kind of going in the same direction I am as far as in the ideal of growing. And that's what this is really about. It's being in a room with people, being on Zoom, of course, but being with a group of people that really want to become better and want to learn about themselves and be able to apply other experiences from other people to their own life. And the mastermind is a phenomenal ideal, a phenomenal way of doing that because we can study a particular quote unquote subject per se. And of course, this one is the high road leadership, and we'll get into that just in a second. But the whole ideal is how can I become a better leader? You know, I get one of the things that John talks about is that, you know, if I want to be better, I want to be better today than I was yesterday. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. And the only way I can do that, the only way and the only hope I have that tomorrow will be better is that if I'm growing today. And so for you and I being involved in a mastermind group is the ideal of what can I glean, what can I take in order to become better. And so this high road leadership mastermind will be an opportunity that we come together. And for us, we'll meet on Mondays. And I'll send out a Zoom link for you guys, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Just as I did through the emails, you'll be able to click on that Zoom link. You'll be able to open up, and then I will be live delivering these mastermind sessions. But I'm also going to be pulling questions from you too. And that's the wonderful thing about this. I'm not the only one that's going to be speaking. I want to give you an opportunity to answer questions. I want to give you an opportunity to speak. And I know some of you right now going, oh, Scott, I don't want any of that. Well, let me say this. You don't have to. Okay, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. That's the wonderful thing about being in Zoom, right? You can be behind the screen and have the camera turned off, which I love to have the camera turned on, but I understand today's a little different. But when we have masterminds, it's great to be able to see people and to be able to have conversations with people. But you don't have to talk. Okay, you don't have to feel pressured that, oh man, I need to say something or I need to ask a question. You don't have to. Okay. And that's the wonderful thing about doing it on Zoom as well and any other mastermind, that nobody is pressured to have to speak. Nobody is pressured to have to talk. You do as you feel, but because I want you to grow, however that is for you. Okay. Whatever growth level and whatever path and journey you're on, I want you to grow at your pace and also in your comfortability. Now, let me say this about comfortability, and some of you have already know what I'm about to say, and that is that many of us can be comfortable and we get in our comfort zones. And I've always said, and I've always learned this, and John has said this many times, is that life is lived on the other side of our comfort zone. Basically, meaning that sometimes we get comfortable, and this is where it stifles our growth. We become stagnant. And we don't try to stretch out and try to go beyond our comfort zone. And one of the things that I have learned in my own life is when I step out of my comfort zone, when I am stretched, kind of like a rubber band, I'm stretched and I stretch myself and I allow other people to stretch me. The wonderful thing is that I'm open to growth and I'm open to people pouring into me and investing into me and hearing from them so that I can become better. And for you and I sitting here today and in front of a camera and listening to me right now, I know you are wanting to grow. You wouldn't be on here if you weren't. And so I appreciate your time. I appreciate, number one, you being here and saying, Scott, I'm wanting to grow and become better because I want you to know I want to grow and become better. Every time I do a mastermind, it amazes me after I finish a mastermind. I love to review. What did I learn? What things can I apply to my life now? how can I become better through this? And when I learn those things and I apply those things to my life, it amazes me of how much I'm able to pull from other people and really, learn from them and apply to my life. And I think really for all of us, we know that. We know that if we're learning from other people, then we're growing. We're becoming better. If I know a different perspective than you see, then what I've done is I've learned your perspective. I've learned a little bit more about you. And so for me, I think that is key when it comes to mastermind groups. It is learning from one another as well as learning from the teachings. And as I said, as a John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer, learning from John Maxwell and learning a lot about what he has seen in his life, but how it applies to you and me. And how we can also interpret some of those things because of the experiences that we've had too. And so, what I want to do, I just want to read a few things to kind of start this ideal of the high road leadership that John has written about. This is his latest book. And so I want to kind of set the stage as we kind of move into this ideal of mastermind groups. And John talks about this. So I want to read a little bit out of this book. Really in chapter 1, he's really talking about how do we, as high road leaders, really bring people together? Because you and I both know in this day and time, it seems like there's a divide. We're not unified. We seem to be, there's a divide, and there's us and them. And John really talks about, hey, how do we as high road leaders really bring people together? And John, a lot of times when he's talking to leaders, he's talking to groups, he asks this questions to leaders, and he says, when you're leading people, how are your people? How are you leading your people? Are they better or are they worse off as a result of your leadership? Now, that's a tough question as a leader. And let me just say this, you may not be in a position of leadership right now, okay? But that doesn't mean you're not a leader. John says this leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so you are a leader, even if you may not be in a position of leadership. And so we have to realize that those people that we're influencing, are we influencing them more in a positive way? Or are we influencing them in a negative way? Are we helping them grow? Are we helping those become better? And I have to say this even for me as a husband and as a father, is my wife becoming better as I'm leading her? My kids, are they better? Young adults and and teenagers growing into this world? Because that's what my role is as a leader, not just as the father, not just as a husband, but as an influencer. And in the ideal that that's what we do, we influence people all the time. And so we can ask ourselves this question, even if we're not in a position. But if you are in a position of leadership, then you do have to ask yourself this question. Hey, when I became a leader in a position, and now that I look back, are my people better off than when I first started? Now, that's a hard question to ask ourselves, isn't it? It really is. But what does it do? It helps us to focus. It helps us to review. Hey, what am I doing to help people become better? How am I helping them grow? Because really, that's what a high leader really does. A high road leader is always helping people grow. And then he says this, are they better off or worse as a result of your leadership? And in other words, are the people rising or falling because you're their leader? And so for you and I, that's a phenomenal question to kind of really start this off in the ideal of, hey, what is my leadership to help people grow? Now, here's an interesting thought. As I'm going to kind of read through this, John talks about why are things going downhill, and we can kind of look at that sometimes, especially in our culture and our society. Some may feel that, man, some of our culture and the way that I was raised, and when I was a kid, things don't seem to be really going up. Things seem to be coming down. And John kind of addresses that. He says, what makes the difference between good and bad leaders? That's the question. What causes the rise or the fall of leadership that impacts people? And he has two things: skills and values. He said those are the two things that really affect our culture, really affect whether a leader is good or whether a leader is bad. It's their skills and their values. Now, you and I could probably look back at leaders in our own life, and we can look at good leaders. We can look at even bad leaders. We can look at people who have been in some form of leadership of maybe a position as a manager or supervisor. Hey, maybe they were a coach. Maybe they were at church. Maybe they were in a nonprofit organization, and you can look at them and think, man, they're a great leader. Wow, because of the values they have, the skills they have. Or you can turn around and say, man, they didn't have the values, or man, their skills lacked a lot. Maybe they had a lot of insecurity. Okay. I think we can both agree that there's definitely two types of leaders. There are good leaders and bad leaders. And John says what really separates them really is the skills that they possess and are growing into, as well as their values that they hold on to. Now, I want you to think about that even for your life. The skills that you have as a leader and the values you have as a leader, but not just as a leader, the values you have as a person. How does that overflow and influence other people around you? Because when we hold on to those values and we're also growing in our skills, we do become better leaders. In fact, we go on the road to become high road leaders as we improve our skills and as we stay firm on the values that we have that are good and positive values that help other people grow. John talks about one of the things going downhill, and that's just the ideal that good skills and good values, leaders raise up their people. Poor skills and good values, leaders can't help their people. Listen to this. Good skills and poor values, that's when leaders manipulate their people. And then poor skills and poor values, that's when leaders drag down their people. And we've all experienced that, I'm sure, in some areas, or we've seen it in other organizations or businesses, or I hate to say it, even in our government. But it's true. Good skills, though, and good values is what we want to have, because good skills and good values, that's the leaders that really raise up their people. Now, when we're looking at leadership, leadership rises when leaders possess good leadership skills and values. And so if we want our leadership to rise, then we have to have good skills, we have to have good values, and increasing our skills to become better. So one of the things that we know is that more than 75% of Americans believe morals are getting worse. They cite the greatest problem as a lack of consideration for others. Now, I'm not sure about you, but there does seem to be a little lack of respect and consideration for other people's viewpoints in our world today. Here's the interesting thing as leaders when we're leading people and we have such a diverse group of people that come in. We have young people that are in our organizations, and we're talking about some of the, not just the millennials, but the Gen Zs, the Gen Xs. We have those that are baby boomers, possibly still in our organizations. I mean, we have such a huge, diverse group of people, and everybody thinks a little bit differently and sees things differently. And as leaders, what we have to realize is that a lot of people say, well, that's just that generation, or that's just them, that's just how they are. But those types of words kind of divide. What we have to learn as high road leadership is what is their perspective? How do they see things? And what are some things that, as a leader, in order not to divide, but to unify, how can I unify? What's the common ground that we need to have in order to create a positive, more positive environment, not a toxic environment, but a positive environment that we may not see eye to eye on certain things, but there are some things that I can at least have some common ground with this individual and understand that I may not agree with this, but it doesn't mean I'm going to disrespect you. I'm not going to disrespect your ideals. I'm not going to disrespect who you are as a person. You're a person of value. Now, I've said this many times, and some of you on here have heard me say this, and that is that for me, I'm a man of faith. As I told you before, I was a pastor, but of course, I was a follower of Christ before then. But what I'm telling you is that I've learned this, that God values people, and I value the things of God. And if God values you and God values people around us, and I value the things of God, then I have to value people in order to continue to value the things that God values, because he does value and love people. Now, when I say that, I have to really understand what that truly means. And as a high road leader, what does that mean for a high road leader is that I've got to take into consideration other people's perspectives. I have to take in consideration of other people's ideals. I do have to take in consideration who they are. I may not agree with that. Okay. I may not, as far as in our organization, we can't embrace some of those things, but I can have a conversation and listen to them and not judge and not disrespect. And I think that's what high road leaders do. I think that's the whole ideal of how do I become better and learn from others, even those that I may not agree with. I always go back to Abraham Lincoln because such a pivotal time for our government and for our nation, but a strength in this man of Abraham Lincoln. If you've ever read the book, also you may have seen the movie, but Abraham Lincoln, phenomenal, secure leader in the fact that he was called a big giraffe because of his long neck by one of his opponents. And I apologize, my brain has just gone dead. I can't remember exactly the guy's name. I apologize. Maybe you may remember, but it was somebody that was in the other party. They were against Abraham Lincoln. But Abraham Lincoln, when he was filling up his cabinet and filling up, his board and those individuals that were going to be in his inner circle, especially in this time of our country, he didn't just pull in a lot of yes people and say, oh, they agree with me, let me pull them in. No, he actually pulled in people that didn't agree with him. He pulled in people that actually was against him because he wanted to know what their perspective is and how can I learn from them to make sure that I'm balanced. I'm not going to change my values. My values are what they are. And they were very strong values. Abraham Lincoln had some very strong beliefs and a vision for this country. But the other side of that is I need to know what they are seeing and what they are saying. Now that's a pretty strong, secure, high road leader. And I think if we look back at our life, I know I can in mine. I can look back at my life and say, I didn't follow that sometimes. Sometimes I wanted to resist those people. Sometimes I wanted to push them aside. And I didn't take it that person and sit down with them and really understand why do you see it that way? I just knew that they weren't seeing it the way that I was seeing it. And that made me resistant to actually learning about them, but also resistant in growing in me. And as high road leaders, what we have to do is we have to be secure in ourselves and grow in ourselves and understand that this is part of the process of becoming a better leader in our life. I want to read something else to you from John. He says, no matter what the circumstances, if we want to be good leaders, we must come to the table, sit in the middle without choosing a side, listen to others, and work to bring people together. Isn't it wonderful to be on a team and be in an organization that you feel everybody is together, that everybody is unified, that everybody, even though they may have a diverse ideals and they have some different perspectives on things, but everybody is working towards the same goal. I don't know about you, but I've been on some teams like that, and it just brings about a peace. There's not a lot of toxicity. There's definitely not a lot of drama. And I'm sorry, I live in a house of girls, and ladies, please do not send bad emails towards me. But because guys can be having a lot of drama too. I get it. I don't like a lot of drama. I don't. And one of the things that I've learned is that peace, whew, man, it is such a good feeling when everyone is working in the same direction, going the same way. We may have some different ideals and different perspectives. Yeah, we need those ideals. We need to know that, hey, this is a thought process, or this is a different way of looking at it. Hey, it may not be the same way I look at it, but it's a great way that, hey, we might need to pivot in this area. But at least we're working towards the same goal. Man, that brings about a lot of peace and brings about another thing for you and your team. It helps us to go further than we thought we could ever go. Because you guys know that if there's a friction, if there's something that basically people are against, or you're not seeing eye to eye, you're not pulling together, you're pulling away from each other, it is so hard to go forward in that direction. It's so hard to try to bring your team, moving them forward, because somebody or some bodies or a group of people are trying to resist, and they're pulling because they don't feel like they've been heard. that they don't see the vision, they don't understand, or maybe there's a division within the team because of something going on. But when you can pull everybody together and you can bring them together and move in the same direction, you don't know how far you can go. You can go a lot further when you have a team pulling and going in the same direction than you have some that are resisting. And so as high road leaders, it is our responsibility to bring people together. And this is one thing that John really is focusing on, especially in this book, of how do we become that. And so he talks about these three roads. And I want to talk about three roads with you real quick. The first one, he talks about the middle road. And he said, middle road leaders, when we travel the middle road, we value fairness. Okay, listen to this. That's what middle road leaders do. I'm going to share some things here with you in just in a second and compare low road, high road, and middle road leaders. And so I want to read this to you real quick. He says, we travel the middle road, we value the fairness. We are open to give and take to keep things even. We think I have received this much, so I should possibly just give this much. We are willing to compromise as long as we're getting at least as much as we're giving, and we'd prefer that we get our share first. And he goes on, he says, that can work if we are trying to be positive, though this kind of mindset is limiting because it is very transactional. What about on the negative side? When people are taking the middle road get hurt or taken advantage of, their natural reaction is to take an equal measure of revenge. That's true in middle road leaders. They're not high road leaders, they're not low road leaders, but the thing about it is that they're not in the ideal of continuing to be that high road leader, to take the high road. And I'll explain that in a minute. Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And for middle road leaders, sometimes that's the way it is. I will give as much as I can, but I'm also going to take as much as I give. And so for middle road leaders, one of the things they have to look at is that it's possibly working with people and doing those things with people, but there's also a possible agenda behind that. But let me talk about low road leaders real quick, low road leaders. He says, before we examine the high road, let's look at the low road. He says, where people on the middle road strive for fairness, people on the low road think of themselves only. On the low road, they look out for number one, as the old saying goes, truly we're all naturally selfish. I know that I am, but low road leaders take from others and don't even think about giving anything back. Why? Because they believe taking is the only way they can get what they want. If they don't do whatever it takes to get what they desire, they believe they will be left out or get left behind. John also says, I've observed that more and more people who travel the low road think the world owes them. They seem to have this victim mentality. So when they take from others, they believe they are setting a score or making the world fair for themselves. Now, some of you may have been around some low road leaders, and that may sound, wow, I could probably think of someone right now. Or maybe it's the middle road leader that you can think of. And then the idea that, hey, they're fair, and that's what they do. They value fairness with everyone, but that only goes to a certain level. So how about the high road leader? What's the difference between the high road leader? Well, John says this, the high road, where the middle and low roads are me first, the high road is others first. I want you to see of that disparity. The low road and the middle road is really about me, but the high road is about you. It's about others. He goes on and says, high road people intentionally give first without worrying about and receiving anything back. Now, that's a total opposite, really, of our culture today. Wouldn't you agree with me? Because the culture today says it's about me. I'm going to help you as long as I get something. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. But a high road leader says, no. I'm not worried about getting something back. I want to help you. I've said this many times as a pastor, I also say it as a coach and as a leader. I want something far more for you than I want from you. You see, as a high road leader, we have to want something more for our people than we want for ourselves. We do. And that's the perspective of a high road leader. John continues to say, they aren't trying to make their interactions fair because they acknowledge life isn't fair. And you guys know, you both know, life is not fair. Some of us have been dealt some pretty rough cards, and we've seen that, and we've experienced that. And we already know that life is difficult and life isn't fair. But John goes on, he says they value every person and treat each one well, whether that individual is traveling on the low, middle, or high road. As a result, they want to keep the balance in the other person's favor because they know it makes the world a better place. Think about that. I don't want the balance on my side. I want the balance on your side. As a high road leader, it's about you. I love what Zig Ziglar says. And he said, and I use this so many times, people are probably tired of me hearing about it, but it's so true. It's that if you help enough people get what they want, okay, then you always get what you want. But the key is not you getting. The key is on helping others, period. If we help people and we put their agendas, we put their ideals in perspective, and we sit down with them and we listen to them and we grow with them and we invest in them and we begin to continue to help them see maybe the world at a different place or a world differently than what they're seeing now, maybe add value to them through things that we're doing here, taking information and adding value to them. And we're helping grow them, understanding that that is what a high road leader does. Invest in people. Doesn't just spend time with people, he invests in people. Why? Because I honestly believe you reap what you sow. But here's the thing. What is it you want to sow? Well, excuse me, what is it you want to reap? Excuse me. Because if you don't start off with what is it that I want to reap, then you don't know what to sow. I mean, if I wanted watermelons, I'm not going to plant cantaloupe seeds and hope to God I'm going to get watermelons, right? No, if I want watermelons, I'm going to plant watermelon seeds. If I want an apple tree, I'm not going to plant a big peach tree and hope that I get an apple tree. No, I'm going to take what I want, the expectation that I have, and I'm going to invest that, seed that, sow that, water it, weed it, help it to grow so that I can bear the fruit that I expect to get. You see, that's what high road leaders do. They understand what it is they want. They understand the ideal that this is what I'm wanting to get. Now, if I know what I want to get, then what am I going to have to invest and sow in order to get? And once I sow, that's not the end of it. No, a high road leader knows there's much more than just pulling dirt back and putting a seed in the ground and covering it up. And I'm talking about in people's lives, okay? Investing, mining gold out of people's lives. Andrew Carnegie said there's much more gold being mined out of people's minds than there will ever be mined out of the earth. Why? Because the hardest part is trying to pull things out of people, trying to mine for gold in their life. Andrew Carnegie had over, 30-something millionaires working for him. And he was asked, how did you have 30-something millionaires working for you? He said, they didn't start off millionaires. He said they became millionaires through working with me. And that's when he used the adage of mining gold out of people, because they can become so much better, so much more, and so much better if we invest and help them grow to become better. And really, that's what high road leadership is. John quotes this. The Cambridge Dictionary says that the meaning of take the high road is to behave in a moral way when other people are not behaving morally. But John says this, when I refer to the high road, it's not totally separate, but it's differently. He says, but when I refer to the high road, that's not exactly what I'm advocating. High road leadership has nothing to do with being morally superior or righteous. The high road is not necessarily the moral high ground. Being a high road leader doesn't make you better than others. That's key, okay? Nor is traveling the high road simply a matter of good character. Yes, high road people have good character, but so do many middle road people. He goes on and says, the ability to take the high road requires something more. It requires the right mindset. Instead of focusing on self, we must focus on the well-being of others. Instead of promoting ourselves, we must promote others. Instead of gathering attention for our benefit, we must direct it to others. We must look for the good in people to try to bring out their best. And we must look for the good in people to help them become the best. This is the mindset anyone can choose to adopt. And when we find ourselves engaging in low road behavior, which everyone does, and I have to admit I have, we shouldn't make excuses. John says we should correct ourselves, make amends, and return to the high road. I think that's interesting. We can always return back to the high road when we find ourselves maybe going on the low road. I want to share this with you real quick. This is kind of the high road leadership, and I'll kind of move this screen off just to the side here, maybe. There we go, a little bit off. High road leaders, middle road leaders, and low road leaders. So let's look at this. High road leaders, they value others. They bring people together. They close the gap between people. They give more than they receive. They give first. High road leaders always are about giving first, not waiting for someone else to give, but to stepping up and being first to give. They don't keep score. They have unconditional giving, giving of people, giving of themselves, giving of their time, giving of their energy, their resources. They want you to win. That's what high road leaders are. I want my team to win. I feel so much better. Yes, it's nice to win, but man, when the team wins, man, what a phenomenal feeling that is when we all win together. And I had a part of it of just helping people grow. And then high road leaders treat others better than they are treated. Middle road leaders, well, they seek value from others. They move back and forth. They live with a gap between people. They give equal to what they've received. They give back, but they don't give first. They keep score, conditionally giving. They want us, I'm a part of us. I want us to win. High road leaders want you to win. Middle road leaders want us to win. What's the difference between us and you? Well, sometimes the you may be someone that may be, if you're in business, okay, it may be a competitor. Honestly, how can I? You say, well, Scott, whoa, time out. I want my competitor to win. Well, the ideal of I want to help people grow, I want to help see other people become better is key. I want people that maybe not before me in the ideal of this ideal of helping people grow, understand that, hey, when I help people, okay, when I'm helping other people grow, it's not about me, it's about them. As I said before, what Zig Ziglar said, it's about helping other people. The more you help other people, the more that you get. Why? Because that high road leader understands that the benefit is not always in receiving, it's in giving. And as I said before, there is a law called sowing and reaping. And the more I sow, the more I will reap. And I many times don't reap from the fields that I'm sowing in. Many times I reap from other fields that's outside of what I'm sowing in. And so these middle road leaders, they want to keep score. They want to give back, but only to themselves. They keep score conditional giving. They want us to win. It's about us. It's just us. What does the us do? It's us and them. We have a them over there and we have us right here. What does that do? That divides. That's a division, okay? And so we have to figure out, hey, how do we work together? How do we work together in the ideal of helping people? And then the last one, treat others the same as they have treated. And then low road leaders devalue others, divide people, widen the gap between people, take more than they give nothing, don't keep score, unconditional taking, want me to win because why? The spotlight's on me. I want me to win. It's about me. It's all about me. Treat themselves at others' expenses. That's low road leaders. And so this is kind of the ideal of where we're going with this mastermind is, Scott, what does this look like in my life? Where have I been low road and middle road? And where am I right now in my high road journey? And how can I become better? And so this mastermind really is a great tool to be able to, number one, to look at yourself as a leader. Again, then look at your team and look at your leaders possibly on your team. And how can we become better? And how can I help other people and invest in them, give them the tools they need so that they win, that they become better? That's why. Because when they win, we all will win. It's about pulling people and bringing people together. And so let me just kind of say this, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about this mastermind group that we're kind of jumping in. As I said before, if you sign up today, you'll get a free book. You give live Zoom and recordings, and you'll also get a workbook. And that workbook is yours. The book is yours. The recordings are yours. And this is kind of an introductory price because once I put this out there for until Monday, price will go up. You guys know that. This is introductory. Just kind of putting it out there for people to say, hey, this is what I want to see. It helps me to see, hey, is this what you guys and myself, is this what we need? Is this what we're really wanting to use? Because I honestly believe this phenomenal book that John has written and this mastermind is a great opportunity for us to become better. But the other side of that is to influence other people to become better because we're all influencers. And so I want to offer that to you as well. And then let me just kind of play. I think I've got a recording. Some of you guys may know this guy, Patrick Castillo. I think if I press this, you guys can possibly hear him. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
I want to take a minute to recommend my friend Scott Brown, training and leadership coaching. I've personally taken 2 courses, mastermind classes with Scott. The material was John Maxwell. The first one was No Limits, super fantastic book. The last one we did was Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, and both were super impactful. I appreciated them both being in person and via Zoom. I certainly appreciate the fact that you get to be with other business professionals and you get to learn and grow with each other. So if your team is looking to get better, or if you as an individual are looking to grow personally and professionally, give my friend Scott a try. What is it, that old axiom? John Maxwell always says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Well, my friends, I can tell you that from the first time you meet Scott, you can tell he cares. He cares about you. He cares about bringing you value. He cares about helping you provide value to your family, your business partners, and your team. So give my friend Scott Brown a shout. You can reach him on social media, see him on YouTube, give him a call, have some coffee with him. Take a class. You will certainly appreciate it. And Scott, good luck, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, everyone.
That's Patrick. He's done a couple of mine. Some of the businesses I've been able to be a part of. Many of you may know that some of the Patterson dealerships I've done. I continue to train with Trey Patterson, who owns the Nissan stores, was the truck stop there in Longview. General Manager Ricky Clark in Kilgore, Richard Treywick out of Marshall, Kirk out of Tyler, and then Auto Smart, which is another company that Trey is a part of. I'm able to do trainings with those guys. Mike Clements at Energy Well Fab in Stony Lake with Vice President Energy Well Fab, just some of the comments they have. And I just wanted to share, some of the testimonies and some of the things that people and I've been a part of with Lance and his team at Pumps Plus, and Josh being the vice president. They have South Texas and 3 stores in West Texas, and I've been to the stores in West Texas and South Texas. I go to them and do training because I feel that's needed. I want to add value to their team as well. Kim Beckham's a great leadership. In fact, he speaks at my Lead on Purpose event, and phenomenal leader. Kyle Davis is also part of some training that I've done for them and their bank, First National Bank of Hugh Springs. And then David Hayes, CPA out of Kilgore. David's been a part of my mastermind groups, part of my Lead on Purpose teams as well. And so, of course, Amy's on. I wanted to show that particular testimony from Amy as well. And these are just some of the groups, some of the businesses that I've done and are members, subscribe to some of my trainings as well, and thoroughly enjoy that. I apologize, Don. I forgot to put Longview Kilgore Cable on here, my man. So I apologize about that, but they're also a part of the team, and an awesome opportunity to speak twice there with them. And so that's pretty much the mastermind group that we're talking about, High Road Leadership. I want the link below, and I'll put it into the chat as well. If you guys have chat, let me see if I can pull this up. But let me ask this: anybody have any questions for me? I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you may have, and be able to, make sure that you understand the ideal of where we're going, what we're trying to accomplish here. Any questions on the book? I think that's, if you can pull that link up, make sure you can, I think you can. I have to copy and paste it. So thank you for asking that. Yeah, it is 6 weeks. The book is 12 chapters, but what we'll do, some of the weeks we'll pull in 2 chapters. to make up for it. So yeah, and then some of the chapters were just kind of combined. So yeah, so it's a 6 week course. It actually starts next Monday. Is when it starts. It'll be again on Zoom Monday 11:30 to 12:30. And like I said, if you're not able to make all of them, I still will send out recordings for you guys, so that you'll have them. It'll have the notes. I'll also send the notes with the recordings, so you'll actually have a copy of the notes with the fill in the blanks, and any other answers and things that we talk about. I'll send also with an email when I send that recording to you. You'll have any other information that we talked about. Maybe we talked about a particular book, or we talked about a particular item coming up, or something that I thought, hey, this would add value to you. You will get that also in that email. So definitely, you definitely want to take advantage of that. But yes, that will start Monday. This coming Monday, it'll go from 6 weeks. I believe that goes through October the 22nd. I believe is what that 6 weeks is. Any other questions? And if you want to get on and talk to me, you can, or you can chat, either way. Yes, you said homework. Yes, within the workbook, there are applications. Thank you for saying that. There are applications. You'll be able to, and a lot of times I don't ask for all of those. You can do all of those, but I will probably specifically say, hey, for next week, hey, we're going to talk about this. So just have this particular question or two questions answered. And what we'll do, we'll begin each session with those who want to talk, everyone's answers, just to receive some perspective, from everybody of what that particular question is. So yes, we will have, I don't call it homework, I just call it applications, but Don, that's exactly right. That's what it would be. So perfect. Any other one? I love it. Anybody else? All right. Well, hopefully I answered your questions about this. My email address, let me put that in the text too. I think it's there. Of course, um, it's gscottbrown.com. So there's my email address, and you can do that. Yes, that link that I sent to you has the cost in it, Sabrina. The cost basically is $197. It's valued at about 1997. Some of my leadership programs I've done have been over $1,997. So I want you to know there's a lot of value in this, and those a lot of times are not just person to person. Those are group coaching sessions as well. And so $197, you get a free book, you get a workbook, you get live Zoom, plus you get the recording, plus I'm going to send you emails that have other valuable information. So you're getting a lot of value for the next 6 weeks for $197. You really are. And so I hope you can take advantage of this. This is a great opportunity, and to really grow and to learn and to become better. And so please, yeah. And that should have there should be a link when you go to gscottbrownleadership.com, High Road Mastermind. It should take you through, and at the very bottom of that is the pay area. And so if you're having problems with it, email me, and we'll make sure and get it cleared up for you. But that should take care of everything right there. Any other questions that you may have? I want to value your time. I don't want to take up too much of your time today. Well, I hope at least if you don't take advantage of this, I hope at least what we talked about today and the ideal of being a high road leader, you were able to take, and you were able to say, man, how am I a high road leader? How can I become a better high road leader? And look at areas of your life as an influencer, as a person who says, hey, I want to become better. What does that look like? And so I hope you at least got some value added today as we talked about John's book, High Road Leadership. And I really want to add value to you guys. I really want to see you grow. It is a pursuit of mine to continue to grow, to continue to be better, to get out of my comfort zone, to be stretched. And I want you to know this is, I've done several mastermind over Zoom, but every time I do it, I learn something new. So most of my masterminds and trainings and things a lot of times are live, and they're either in a business or behind a table or standing speaking. But so I enjoy doing Zooms. It's a little different because as a pastor, you're always seeing people, and I'm not seeing people, I'm seeing a camera. And so it's a little different for me, but I am learning and growing through this. And so I appreciate that opportunity as well. So I'm being stretched every time I do Zoom trainings and Zoom masterminds as well. So learning new technology is fun, and learning how to do some of the new things that are coming out and learning those have been a great stretching tool for me as well. So, all right, guys, are we good? Everybody's good? I hope so. If you're on, hopefully give me a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs up on the the chat maybe, or just want to make sure we're good. But that's it, guys. That is the High Road Leadership Mastermind. I hope I answered your questions today. I hope that you got some value out of today, and wherever I can help you, please contact me. You've got my email address. I hope the emails that I send out to you, you're receiving value from. You can always check me out on my YouTube channel. I do trainings, short videos on that of some other trainings I've done in the past. You can go to Facebook page. You can go to my LinkedIn account as well as Instagram. And the two areas that I'm most active on, other than email, of course, would be YouTube and Facebook. So those are the two areas that I really spend most of my time on, trying to push out information and try to add value to people. So, guys, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all so much. Oh, yeah, Sabrina, thank you. Yes, 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 please do. Would love for you to be a part of that. And even if it's just you and you want to take some of that information back to your team there in the city of Longview, man, I would love to be able to help you do that. As I said before, I'm also the Gregg County chaplain, for the Gregg County Sheriff's Department. And I know we've done some things with them. Would love to help in any way I possibly can, Sabrina. So thank you for that note. Guys, Amy, good to see you. Glad you were on as well. Don, thank you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you guys really soon. Again, if I can do anything for you, let me know. God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon.